Hey guys, how you doing? This is Tony Tone from Chess Salcedo on YouTube. Guys, check this out. Today we're going to be talking about the chessboard, the actual chessboard, not the pieces, not tactics or strategy or anything else, just the actual chessboard. I don't really see this anywhere, so I wanted to bring this up and discuss this because knowing the chessboard, how to make sure that you're set up correctly is very, very important. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clear the board. So you see this chessboard. I want you to understand it in this way that I'm explaining it, okay? So when you look at a board, there are 64 squares. There are 8 rows, which are called ranks, horizontal, and then there are 8 columns, which are called files. So if I say I have a knight right here, what I'm actually saying is using the coordinates, see, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, that's the A file, the B file, the C file, and so on and so on. Then you have the first rank, the second rank, the third rank, the seventh rank, right? If you line these up, boom, boom. This piece is standing on F6. There's a thing called chess notation. And chess notation basically is used for recording games that you play, especially in tournaments. That way, when you're done with the game, whether you won or lost, you did good or bad, doesn't matter. You can actually go through the game you just played, whether you won or lost, and actually study your games. It's called a post-mortem. The only way you do that, how do you remember the million times you move pieces throughout an entire game, however long the game takes, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, you want to go back and you want to revisit and look at what you did right and especially what you did wrong and how to correct those mistakes or problems. Right, or potential blunders. But if you don't understand a chessboard, you can't do any of that. So let's get rid of this. So I want you to understand this. If you split this board in half, right? I can't split it. You can't do it with this. But if you just take right here, you split it in half between the D and the E, right? You have two halves. You have the left half, you have the right half. Then you split it in half horizontally. Now you have the bottom half and you have the top half. I want you to focus right here on the 4 quadrants of a chessboard. This is the first quadrant. This is the second quadrant. If you look at it like this, visualize in your mind, this is the first quadrant, top left, the second quadrant, top right, and so on and so on. The bottom left is the third quadrant, and the bottom right is the fourth quadrant. Now, on an entire chessboard, before you even begin the game, I cannot stress this enough. I don't know if you've ever noticed this or not, but I can tell instantly if someone has set up the pieces wrong, on the wrong squares, or if the board is even set up correctly, period. How do I know that? Look at the top left quadrant of the board. Your opponent should have on his right side, bottom right, should be a white square. If we go diagonal, the bottom right of your side has to be also white. If this chessboard has a dark square on the top left quadrant of the board and the bottom right quadrant of the board, those two diagonal, that board is set up incorrectly. You cannot set up the pieces on there, nor could you start a chess game in a tournament with the board wrong, with the board set up illegally and incorrectly. In other words, I can't flip this board, but if you take your chessboard, if you have one in front of you, just flip it and put the dark square on the bottom right corner, which inevitably change the upper left-hand square, which is A8, right here, A8. And for you, it's A1. It's the first rank, it's the 8th rank. Sorry, H1. I'm sorry, H1 and A8. Those two squares have to be white, or you cannot start the game and place your pieces on there because the pieces will be, they'll be wrong. They'll be wrong completely when you do chess notation. Now you're gonna have chess boards that have no coordinates on it at all. If you buy a chessboard from Target or not Home Depot, sorry, Walmart, take it home, whatever size, you're not going to have these coordinates. These coordinates are mainly for people who record their games and are used in tournaments. I happen to have one. I used to play in tournaments 100 years ago. So because I want to record my games and I want to be able to go back through the game to find out what the hell I did right and what the hell I did wrong, especially what I did wrong. You learn more from mistakes and failures, just like life. I always relate chess to life, than you do anything else. So I want to stress that the bottom right-hand corner, H1, has to be white, and the top left-hand corner has to be white, or you cannot start the game. If you don't have coordinates, you don't even need the coordinates. Just look at the bottom right all the way in the corner. That has to be white, and the top left all the way in the corner has to be white. That's it. So a lot of people are not aware of that. They're just, when I bring that up, when I play people online or over the board in person, they're shocked to find out. What? Really? Well, some of them don't even believe it. But look it up. It has to be white. Both squares have to be white. I want to mention this, very, very important. Look at the chessboard not only as a battlefield, which it is, but as real estate. And the most important part of that battlefield, the most important part of this real estate here on this chessboard, are the 4 squares in the very middle of the board. That's D4, E4, and D5, E5. As you progress and you get better and you start learning the game more, it's not going to make sense right now. You're gonna see why these 4 squares are critical and crucial to controlling them. Very, very important. Okay. I forgot to mention, you also have diagonals. If you look at this, look at all these are all diagonals. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. We have 6. We have 7 diagonals for dark, and the same, I believe, 7. Let's see. Well, actually, let's take all this off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 6 and 7. Okay, very important. If I put all the pieces on there are 32 total pieces on a chessboard. The black army has 16. The white army has 16 as well. Why? Because 8 and 8 is 16. 8 and 8 is 16. 16 and 16 is 32. This is the starting position correctly of setting up a chessboard. The bottom right has to have the rooks, and the bottom left the rooks. Think of it as a big old castle, and the rooks are protecting castle. And then next to the rook always has the knight, then the bishop, then the king. The king has to be on the opposite color. I want to stress this big time. If you have a white king, it goes on a black square or a dark square. If you have a black king, it goes on a light square or a white square. The queen, either queen, always goes on its own color. And you cannot start a game with the pieces on the wrong squares. Every piece is correct. If you look, symmetry, they all have to be facing each other. A rook has to face a rook, a knight, a bishop, a bishop. The queens have to be facing and looking at each other. Same with the kings. If they're not, something is wrong with the setup of the chess pieces on the board. I can't stress this enough. If, for example, this happens all the time, you see this here, and before you even start the game, you must notice, do the kings face each other? Let's see. Oh, no, they don't. A queen should not be facing a king or vice versa. Just the white or black or white, doesn't matter. They have to be facing each other. Just know, whatever color your king is, it goes on the opposite color. And then the queen obviously goes on the other color, which is the same color as its own the square. So white on white, black on black. I think that's basically it, guys. So now you have hopefully a better understanding of the chessboard, how you set up pieces. There's a lot more to this game. This game is not checkers. I want to stress this enough. The only thing similar between checkers and chess is that they use the same board, but that's it. Other than that, chess is an infinite game. It's deep, 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 deep. Checkers is cool, but it's just a lot easier. Chess is so much complexity and confusion and understanding about it that you have to really study it to become better at it. So, guys, that's basically it. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can hit me up on my Instagram page, which is chess_salcero, or on YouTube here. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something from this. You can replay it a million times, and make sure you understand this before you go into any game over the board, especially over the board because you're not online where the pieces are set up for you automatically, electronically. But in person. This is very important. I have prevented many issues in the future. I even got in an argument with a guy a long time ago because he thought I was wrong about the white square being on the bottom right and the top left before you start a game. He thought the queen, the white queen goes on its opposite color. He was just completely ignorant and wrong. If you ever face that, don't play a person. If they get too argumentative, they want to debate, just tell them, listen, go to youtube.com or go to Google it. Just Google anything. Go to chess.com, whatever, or Elite Chess, which is what I use here, elitechess.org, and see how it's set up. Okay? You can win an argument easy by telling somebody to Google it and prove yourself right. Make sure the board's set up correctly, the pieces are set up correctly before you begin any game, especially over the board, because if not, it's going to invalidate the entire game. If you play a chess game in the bottom right corner, H1, it's not even H1, it's some other coordinate because it's not set up correctly. If it's a dark square and you play a whole game, you never even notice until the end, oh my God, then it invalidates the entire game. It just doesn't count. You can't record it. They were on the wrong coordinates the entire time, on the wrong squares. So that's why this is important. And if you're a chess player, not just a home chess player where you just play at home with your friends or family, that's one thing. But if you're a serious chess player like me and you're playing in online tournaments or in real life tournaments over the board, this is absolutely 500% crucial. You must understand this because you can actually look like a fool if you start a game and you didn't know how to set up the board from jump. So hope you guys enjoyed. Follow me if you can. Please subscribe on YouTube under chess.salcedo27. My name is Tony Tone, and I am out. Peace.